This one has closed down. This one closed down too. Another one has closed down. Have you noticed how in the past 2 years, so many familiar names in Singapore have disappeared? I'm not only talking about those hawker stores that can be operating on super thin margins. I'm referring to well-established F&B establishments like Manhattan Fish Market, the Prive Group, and Shaburi and Kintan Buffet, to name a few. Even our most well-loved hot pot chain, Hai Di Lao, has closed down 4 outlets, the latest being the one at Clarke Quay. I mean, when I watched the CNA video that documents the story of Castle, which is a third-generation, 80-plus-year-old restaurant closing down, and especially when I reached the part of the Bird restaurant at Bishan Park shutting its doors for the last time, with their owners and employees crying. At the end, I really feel for those business owners. I'm sure they have put in their life savings and their utmost efforts in fighting to survive for years, painstakingly working in the kitchen for long days to save manpower costs, only to lose the battle. And what's the common story behind all of them? Yep, you already know, it's the sky-high rent that killed them. For many of these businesses that are forced to close, I've seen many people pointing their fingers at the landlords. Yes, they say that landlords are the villain of the story. They're always demanding more, they're always squeezing businesses dry, and in the process, pushing tenants out of the market. Case in point, there's this content creator I seem to see a lot of his videos. His main tire chain crumpled, with hundreds of thousands in debt for him to clear. His reasons: evil landlords who are just out to increase their profits at the expense of the tenants. If they can't pay, another tenant will take over willingly and pay the higher rent. But here's the question: are landlords really that evil? Are they really greedy? Are they really increasing the rents on purpose? Or is there something deeper happening that many of us don't realize? Well, that's the topic for this video, which I will try to break down. And I guarantee what you discover will change the way you look at landlords and perhaps also the tenants. Let's start with what everyone are supposedly seeing: landlords pushing rents higher and higher. Whether it's commercial shop spaces, F&B outlets, industrial lots, or residential apartments, the numbers all say the same thing. Looking at this chart, commercial rents have surged by 40% since COVID. And for F&B businesses, especially the small hawker or food court stores, it's extremely challenging for them to keep up with this cost increase. And we have to bear in mind that we haven't yet factored in the other things that have gone up in their operating costs, like manpower, utilities, and raw ingredients. But you know what's interesting when I was tabulating this chart? Yes, commercial rents have gone up, but at an even more alarming rate of increase are the residential rents. You can see that on average, rents have gone up by over 50% since 2020. True, we see a slight adjustment in 2024, and probably it will be the case for this year too, but the increase is a lot. No wonder I have friends and clients telling me that they're struggling with the high monthly rents for their homes. And guess what? Unlike F&B and commercial entities, residential rent hikes are solely due to the action of the landlord, right? I mean, there's no other factors like manpower costs or other operating costs affecting the price we pay for staying in a rented apartment, right? Anyway, like the commercial and retail landlords, when a family can't cope with a 10% or 20% rent increase, when this tenant give up, the landlord will just wait for the next one who is willing to pay more to come in, right? Well, on the surface, it might look like a classic case of the landlord's ever-increasing greed. But here's the thing that I discovered. What if this greed is really just the landlord trying to survive too? Before I continue to review why is this the case, can you help me with liking this video if you are following me so far? And subscribe to my channel so I know you like me to do more of such videos in the future. And feel free to comment below to share with me your thoughts too, okay? Anyway, back to why landlords are trying to survive too. You see, after COVID, Singapore's property market didn't just recover, it exploded due to real demand. For 2 years, construction delays, manpower shortages, and travel restrictions froze supply. Families who applied for flats needed a temporary place to stay, so they rented. And then when the economy finally reopened in 2022, demand came roaring back from a huge inflow of Malaysians coming back to work in Singapore, from new expats and from new businesses. In a short span of a few months, so many people needed new places to rent. So because of that, property prices shot up. If you have been following the market these few years, you would have witnessed PSF prices increasing at every new condo launch, and HDB flat prices breaking the 1 million mark, then 1.2 million mark, and then now 1.5 million. Today, $1 million 5-room flats and even 4-room flats are the norm in some estates. And mass market condos, not those in CCR and RCR, I'm talking about condos in Tampines and Jurong are costing 2 million easily for a compact 3-bedroom unit. So now, this is the part many people don't register. When the price of property increases, the buyer will naturally need to pay more, correct? And guess what will happen when they need to rent out their expensive properties? Of course, they are going to pass their higher monthly mortgage commitments to the tenants. So if they want to cover the loan, the only option is to raise rents. While I didn't personally transact any of these cases, I've seen some of my counterparts coercing foreign buyers to purchase commercial shophouses when ABSD for residentials are too high. And many shophouses are crazy expensive today at 5 million, 8 million, some even at 10 million. Sounds insane, right? But these are real numbers today. So if this buyer takes a 75% loan, that's 7.5 million to be borrowed. At an interest rate of say 2.5% over 30 years, their monthly installment comes to around 29,600 per month. So just to break even on the loan, the landlord already needs to collect at least 30,000 per month in rent. And that's before factoring in property tax, maintenance, or any vacancy periods. So when you see landlords asking 33,000 to 35,000 a month for a prime shop house, yes, it looks greedy, but really they are just trying not to bleed. And like I said, this problem isn't just for commercial properties. It's happening in the residential market too. Today, many new launches are already crossing 3,300 to 3,500 per square feet. Let's say someone buys a condo unit at the recent Robertson Quay project for 3 million. Again, with a 75% loan, that's 2.25 million borrowed. Over 30 years at today's interest, the monthly installment will be about 8,900, which means to just cover the mortgage, the landlord must rent a unit out for at least 9,000 per month. 9,000 for 900 square feet, 3-bedroom apartment at Robertson Quay. Ask yourself, how many tenants in Singapore can actually afford to pay that kind of rent, month after month? I mean, just ask yourself this other question. If you can pay 9,000 per month for rent, would you stay in a 900 square feet condo or a 2,800 square feet landed in Bukit Timah? So for the landlords, those buyers of the 3 million apartments, they think, or they are made to think, if others are doing it, I should too. They are fed on the premise of FOMO. So they max out their TDSR, stretch themselves thin to buy that multi-million dollar condo or commercial unit or industrial space that they can barely afford. And they hope to cover the installments with rent. And when a tenant leaves and the unit sits empty for a few months, what's going to happen? What if they lose their job and suddenly can't stand in with their own money to service the mortgage? You know what some of the strategy will entail? Yes, you guessed it, they raise the rents to cover the months that they miss collecting the rents. And the cycle continues. More buyers are pushed to buy expensive properties by whoever is encouraging them. I don't need to name those people. They stretch themselves thin, trying to cover their mortgage on the pretense of passive income. As a result, tenants are forced to pay higher rents, and some will eventually default, and others close down. But there will forever be another tenant who is willing or desperate to pay a little more. And because of the demand, property prices increase, and future buyers are paying even more. Yes, like I say, the cycle will continue. If you are a property investor in the recent years, I'm happy for you. A few $100,000 of profit in just a few years is the Singaporean dream come true for you. But for the hundreds, even thousands of business suffering, fighting each and every day to cover the rent, or the real families who can't afford or ineligible to buy and have to rent, my heart goes up to you. In fact, for the hundreds of thousands of us, the average income owners who have already been priced out of private condos, ECs, and even many resale flats, it will get even more challenging for us if this cycle continues. I myself haven't got the power to turn the tide. Even the government doesn't seem to be able to influence much, aside their usual narrative of HDB flats remain affordable today, which I won't debate because honestly there are still affordable BTOs in some areas. I emphasize some. But to be able to truly break this cycle, the majority of people has got to say no to the ever-increasing new launch condo prices, the ever-increasing resale HDB prices, and especially the ever-increasing rents. Perhaps a few landlords might suffer from having to go into a default after missing a few months of payments and then having their property be repossessed. But hey, someone have to pay the price, right? I mean, if you take pity on the businesses that close down, it's either the businesses that suffer or the landlords, right? But truly, I don't wish ill of anyone, tenant or landlord. But I remember and relish the time when property prices were manageable, even prudent. And tenants, especially F&B operators, are perfectly happy to keep food prices low and still they can earn a good living. And everyone was happy with an affordable meal with bigger servings. Today, things are so much more expensive, or they are less for the dollar. Yes, I miss the past, but we can never go back to the past. But at least today, we have the choice to not make things any more expensive. So, this is my plea. Not as a property agent, certainly not as any politics activist. I'm just someone who also suffers from the high cost of everything like you. And I hope to do something to make sure things are not any more challenging than it is now. I hope that property price increases will stop and perhaps reel back a little. Rents to remain stable and in fact can lower a bit. Our beloved businesses, especially the fragile hawkers and boutique restaurants, don't close down anymore. All this can happen if you are thinking of becoming a landlord, please don't be greedy. That means from the start, you should be prudent. Don't buy into the type that you must own an investment property at all costs, thinking that if you miss the boat now due to FOMO, things will become more expensive. Don't blindly follow people who tell you property is a sure win game. It's not, because the way property investment should be, it should fit comfortably within your financial means. You should never have to lose sleep at night wondering if you can hold on for just one more month. For tenants, my plea is for you to remember you have the right to say no to an expensive rent. There will always be somewhere else that is cheaper. You will always have the chance to deal with a better landlord who isn't opportunistic and isn't out to treat you as an ATM. By doing so, you will help to manage future rent hikes and more importantly, ensure you have a better rate of survival and also turn around a higher profit margin. If you're asking why I'm doing this video, well, I feel that something is not right after I see so many businesses fold, especially the small hawkers and boutique cafes that are the most vulnerable. The owners are like me, who are out to only earn an honest living. But they are not given the chance because they are presented with the tough challenge of an ever-increasing rent hike. I'm not a property investor. Honestly, I'm priced out like most of you. But what you do now know is I'm actually a tenant who is paying a rather high rent currently, and I'm looking forward to ending my tenancy soon. And so, you can say I feel for those who are like me, feeling the stresses that one day, if I miss paying the rent, I will be chased out by the evil landlord. So, I don't have anything to sell you in this video, and you don't have to buy anything from me either. But if you feel the same as I in some of the things I said, of prudence in buying your next property, of looking for another place with a lower rent, and you wish to have a chat about your options, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to walk you through your numbers and give you some advice that puts your financial health first. Otherwise, with many of you whom I had the privilege to meet or chat with from my earlier videos, I'm happy to just make a friend with you over an affordable meal. If we can still find such a place. Anyway, my name is Jessica. I'm grateful to be able to share with you my thoughts up to this point in my video. I hope you can hit like on this video and subscribe to my channel so you'll not miss out the next one, okay?